So hi guys, my name is Dipesh Shijwani and I am from Philium Enterprise. Today in this video we are going to study about the HTML classes and CSS selectors. So starting with the HTML classes. So basically a class attribute in HTML. So HTML class attribute is used to specify a single or multiple class names for a HTML element. The class name can be used by CSS and JavaScript to do some tasks for the HTML elements, and you can use this class in CSS with a specific class right period dot character. Like you can use a dot character for selecting a class, and how we are going to select multiple elements or the class elements, and how we are going to style them. So there are different type of selectors which I talked about, the CSS selectors. So which they are going to select the elements, and they are going to do some tasks with them. So so how we are going to use how we are going to select and how we are going to use a class element or class attribute in HTML. So we will see step by step everything. So I have to make a doc element, doc type HTML, head tag, and title I'm going to give it's this is Philium Enterprise. Okay, and now I have to give a body tag. And now in this body tag, I'm going to make several kind of tags, like this is para 1, and all these tags are I'm using for un, teaching purpose, not I'm going to design something very attractive. I'm going to use for a teaching purpose. So my main focus is on teaching right now. Adding one, okay, and I'm making a para again. This is para 2. So, or maybe you can put a heading 1 again. Okay, this is heading 2. Okay, let's just see the output of the HTML structure. So this is an output for the HTML structure that we have written. And now in this, we are going to use a link. Again, we are going to use a link tag, and we are going to relate it with the style sheet. Again, I'm writing something wrong. Okay, and my source is style dot css. Okay, self closing tag. Okay, now I'm going to write different type of selector. I'm going to explain different type of selectors, what type of selectors are in CSS. So basically a CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements you want to style. Okay, now we can divide CSS selectors into basically into 5 categories. First is simple selectors, like select elements based on name, ID, or class. Okay, and combinator selectors select elements based on specific relationship between them. Okay, and pseudo class selectors select elements based on certain state. Pseudo element selectors select and style a part of an element. Attribute selectors select elements based on attribute and attribute value. Okay, so these are the different type of selectors that we are going to see. And that's very interesting part, because it seems very simple when we are learning, but when we are going to use them, we can't decide which thing we can use and which thing we don't gonna decide at that time. So it's a bit difficult at that time. So let's just start with the simple selectors. Okay, so simple selector is CSS element selector by the tag name. Okay, by the tag name you can select. Let's just say I want to give every paragraph a color of red. So I selected the tag with the tag name. So in this document, every paragraph tag will acquire this styling. Okay, and you can see the output. So every paragraph has changes to red. Okay, now if I'm giving some ID, like a particular ID. to paragraph 1, let's just say P1. Okay, and I only want that P1 to be to acquire that styling. Okay, so I will not give the tag name. Instead, I will give the ID selector, which is P1. So for the ID selector, I have to put a hashtag because I'm using a ID. So it will tell my browser that I am selecting an ID, and it will matches that ID with this, and this it will applies that styling to that only that tag which has ID, that ID, and a unique ID is provided to every tag. We can't use that P1 ID for our other tags. So keep in mind that thing. Okay, so it's very unique thing. So you can see this para has been changes to normal, and this has been selected. And same if I want to give series, like if I want to there are several type of tags, and I want to give a particular number of tags a same styling, and particular number of tags the same styling. So I will use a class selector. So instead of ID, I will use class attribute, and this class attribute I can give to any number of tags. Okay, so if I want to give this class attribute to header also, so I can use that P1. Okay, or C1, you can say class 1. And for the selector, that for the ID I have used hashtag. For the class I have to use a dot for selecting class, and you can see the output. The paragraph 1 and paragraph, all elements with the class 1 has been selected and colored to, or maybe acquired that styling that I have provided. So this was a class selector. Now there are multiple, like there there are the selectors which like there are the multiple tags which I also use, rather using a class element. So if I want to give let's just I'm selecting it to H2, and it remain H1. Okay, no problem. And if I want to give certain number of tags a same property, so I can use the class also. And instead I also you can use selector like combinator, grouping selector, you can say. So I'm using P comma H1. So this comma represents that all of the tags which I am naming, or maybe all of the classes and all of the, you can also use any number of IDs and any number of by using comma, if you want to give the same attribute or same styling to the particular reference. So you can see now all paragraph and heading 1 has been changed to red. This has not changed to red because I have used heading 2 H2 H2 tag, and it has not been selected here. And so that's the difference, basic difference between the selector. Okay, now let's just see more selectors. So now one of the selectors are CSS combinators, and in that also there are four types of selectors. So basically a CSS selector contain more than one simple character, and the combinators are of four types. First is descendant selector, which is used to show by a space, and child selector, which is used to show by a greater than sign, adjacent sibling selector, which is used to show by plus sign, general sibling character, which is used to show by a curling sign. Okay, first let's just see an example of descendant selectors. The descendant selector matches all the elements that are the descendants of a specified element, or we can say the element which are all inside the particular specified element. So let's just see an example. We are going to remove everything from here. Let's just make a div tag, and in this div tag I'm going to make a paragraph tag that this is para 1. Okay, now in this div tag also I'm going to make one more div tag, and in that div tag I'm going to make one more para tag. Okay, and I'm going to write this is para 2. Okay, by this you can see that the okay, so I will explain you by the example. That's a better thing to explain. Now for a descendant tag, I am using a space. You can see I am using a space, and I am going to write the correct tag name which I want to give a styling. So I want to style it by color. Let color is red. Okay. Okay, so what will be the output? Output will be the all paragraph which are under the div tag. Okay, which are under the div tag will be colored to with that 1 second if I'm using div tag and then okay. So I'm using section tag here for letting you see the difference between the descendant tag and okay. So this is a section tag. Okay, so now you can see all paragraph tags, two paragraph tags are under div tag, so all will be colored to red. You can see all are colored to red because the descendant tag means that all paragraph tags under div tag, whether it's there are childs or not, they are going to color red. But if I'm using uh, child selector, that is represented by greater than sign. Okay, which is not represented by space, which is represented by a greater than sign. So it will say the document that select all the paragraph tags which are the child of div tag. So this paragraph tag is not a child of div tag, but it is a child of section tag, and it is a grandchild of div tag. So it will be not coloring this paragraph too, but it will color its all child. Okay, so you can see the difference. Okay, so the difference has been shown here. Now moving to the next selector, that is adjacent sibling selector. So adjacent sibling character is character a selector which is selecting the next element, the specified next element. So I am using this is a para 3, which will be a sibling to div tag, and which will be the next sibling to div tag, and this is a para 4. So now the next sibling, the adjacent sibling is para 3, not para 4. So div tag, if I'm using the adjacent sibling tag with the plus sign, it is shown by the plus sign, then the paragraph 3 is going to convert to red, not fourth, because it's not the next sibling. But in case of general sibling selector, which is this curl sign character. So it tells the document to specify the styling to every specify particular tag which is the next sibling to the particular div tag in this case. And now the para 4 is also going to color. You can see the general sibling character will select all the next sibling, but adjacent sibling character which will select the next adjacent sibling. Okay, so this is the difference between that. So this was all the about the CSS selectors, and there are various selectors that we will study code by code. We can't cover all the things into the one video. So be with me, and thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for more concept of CSS and HTML. And I'm Dipesh Ijwani from Philium Enterprise.